They said it was a relic, a floating grave, a patchwork of rusted armor, flickering lights, and half-dead systems. And yet, it moved with a silence that demanded attention, not with urgency, but with something worse purpose. High strategist. Varnak of the Tsar Dominion leaned back in his obsidian throne, sipping from a crystalline chalice. The bridge air was thick with amusement, the kind that precedes violence. On the main holodisplay, the human vessel drifted towards Sector N19 Dominion space, heavily patrolled. Sacred ground. This is how they challenge us now? Varnaks. Mandibles twitched in smug disbelief. A ship that belongs in a museum? Chuckles echoed through the command chamber. Dozens of warships surrounded the intruder, sleek and bristling with plasma turrets, resonance cannons, and gravitic slingshots. A single order and the old Earthship would be vapor, but Varnak didn't give the order. Not yet. It was tradition. After all, to let prey dance before the kill. On board the Dominion dreadnought Alturash, systems crackled with scans. The human ship had no IFF signal, no transponder. Its hull bore scars from old wars, some so ancient they predated even the Tsar's rise. It's not responding to hails, said the communications officer. No signal, no pings. Passive sensors detect. Minimal life support. No crew activity. Then perhaps they sent a ghost, Varnak mused. Beside him, Commodore Drask frowned. Or a trap, Varnak scoffed. A trap from humans? The silence has gone on for decades. They were broken long ago. That was when the lights dimmed not on the ship, but in the room, one by one. Systems across the Dominion fleet flickered. The first tremor wasn't physical, it was felt. A tension. Like something standing too close in the dark, they laughed. Then they stopped. The phrase appeared projected into every Tsar command deck, every pilot's visor, every ship's HUD simultaneously. It wasn't sent. It was placed. No data stream. No frequency. No origin. Just presence. Varnak stood slowly, cup forgotten. His eyes narrowed at the static hum on every channel. Shut it off, he snapped. We can't, came the trembling reply. It's not ... from here. The old human ship didn't accelerate, didn't arm weapons, didn't change course. It just drifted. And yet, suddenly it was closer. Far closer. Too close. No propulsion detected. Barked an officer. No thruster signature. It just moved. Not warped, not jumped, just moved against space. Against logic, against them. Send drones, Drask ordered. Dozens of silver pods launched, each equipped with multi-spectrum sensors, nano-injection torpedoes, and neural stingers. They closed in on the human ship like wolves, then disappeared. No explosion. No resistance. One moment approaching. The next gone. Not debris. Not vapor. Just erased. A flicker ran down the human ships. Spine? Lights red, blue, white ignited in sequence. Ancient markings glowed. Some Tsar recognized them from classified archives. Not human letters. Warnings. Codes. Ancient Earth War designations used during the burning years, when humanity had sent fleets to glass entire moons. That ship, said the sensor analyst, pale green skin paling further, is designated Oblivion's Howl. It was lost 187 years ago. Presumed destroyed. Varnak turned sharply. No ship survives that long. They do, Drask murmured. If they were never meant to be found, they shelve, they wait. The old human ship began transmitting again, not in sound, not in language, but in thought. Observed. And suddenly, every Tsar on the bridge was there, not physically, but mentally dragged into a memory that wasn't theirs. A battlefield, a dominion, fleet screaming as fire rained from stars, a human voice counting. Backward. 10, 9, 8 that they tore out, gasping on screen, the ship pulsed. A low hum rippled through the void. Not an attack. An invitation then it fired except it didn't. A beam of pure absence lashed across space, not light, not energy. A line of negation. 9 warships vanished, no debris. No alarm, gone, just, gone, shields. To full, Drask barked, but the fleet couldn't respond. Power systems glitched. Navigational AI looped. Targeting locked inwards. Ships aimed at each other. They tried to run. Engines whined. Engines died. The old human ship said nothing. Just moved again, closer, another. Beam. 6 more ships erased, and still no visible weapons. No visible hull breaches. Just silence, framed by a red pulse from the heart of the human vessel. Drask collapsed to his knees. They're not fighting us. Varnek's voice cracked. What are they doing? They're judging. The last transmission came, a single phrase. They thought it was mercy. It wasn't. And that was before Earth even responded. The debris field didn't drift. It held still, unnaturally still, as if gravity bowed to the old human ship, not physics. The scattered wrecks of 17 Tsar warships, once the Dominion's pride, now hung like broken teeth in a cold maw. Silent, smoking, erased from command logs in real time, as if the galaxy itself recoiled from remembering. Across the remaining fleet, no one left now. They haven't transmitted anything since, murmured Drask, his voice barely audible beneath the eerie static hum that filled every Dominion vessel. No warnings. No demands. Just ... Varnek didn't reply. His claws dug silently into the armrests of his throne. Behind his slitted eyes, centuries of strategy buckled. Every maneuver he'd learned at flanking, disabling shields, SEOPs, none of it applied. Because this wasn't war. This was a message. And they were still listening. From the forward viewport, the old Terran warship floated closer again. Still slow. Still dragging that deliberate, bone-chilling silence behind it. There were no visible weapon ports. No turrets rotating. No armor bracing, but no one dared to fire. We should strike now, hissed Krodak, the youngest commander on the fleet link. While it's still recharging, or whatever that was, Drask cut him off with a flat tone. It's not recharging. What? It's studding. The lights on the Terran ship blinked again, slow, deliberate pulses that formed a rhythm. And then it began broadcasting. This time not in symbols. Not in shared thought, but in sound, grainy, warped. Ancient. It was a voice. A human voice. This is Commander Jacob Reese of the Earthship Oblivion's howl. If you're receiving this, congratulations. You've awakened something meant to stay buried. The fleet froze. The voice continued, distorted by age, laced with something untranslatable regret. We were built for extinction-level retaliation, not combat. Not deterrence, retaliation. You attacked a refugee convoy off Shitora Prime. You destroyed medical ships marked with peace sigils. You thought silence meant weakness. The recording paused. Then came 5 words that chilled even Varnek's blood. You were added to the list. A low thrumming began again. Not from the ship. From within the Dominion vessels themselves, control panels dimmed. Star maps fizzled into static. Gravity stabilizers groaned like old bones. And then systems REBOOTED. All at once. Every Dominion vessel. Linked. And on every screen and image. A single Terran child holding a stuffed animal seated aboard a civilian lifeboat. Wide-eyed. Alone. Then an explosion. The frame shook. Her image froze mid-blink. Gone. The Dominion had scrubbed that footage from their archives years ago. It was never released. Never acknowledged. Now it was in every Tsar captain's face. "You're inside our systems," Varnik whispered. "No," said Drask, slowly backing away from his console. "They're inside us." The howl shifted. Its rear thrusters didn't ignite, its direction simply changed. Like thought overriding mass. The Dominion dreadnought Cyrillic exploded before any of its crew registered what had happened. One moment, intact. The next, its core consumed in a sphere of inverted energy, collapsing inward with no sound, no light. Only void. Another vanished. Then another. Each death wasn't an attack, it was surgical, targeted. They weren't striking at the strongest ships, or the ones nearest. They were removing patterns, leaders, analysts, communications, bridges. The howl wasn't just fighting. It was dismantling command. "Kill the signal," Krodak screamed, slamming his fist into the console. "Shut the damn thing down." "I can't," the engineer cried. "It's not a signal anymore, it's embedded in every processor. Even analog backups are infected." "They're not hacking us," Drask said hoarsely. "They prepared us long ago. This ship was buried with protocols that waited to be triggered. It studied us then. It remembers now." Outside, the howl's lights shifted from red to white. Color of Terran morning. The Tsar fleet began to fracture. Some ships turned to flee. Others misfired, weapons discharging into the void or into friendly hulls. Confusion wasn't tactical anymore. It was existential. "Let's burn them," Krodak cried. "Everything. Full barrage. Fire until—" His voice cut. Not by interruption, but by silence. The feed from his ship blinked out. Then nothing. No debris. No flesh. Just absence. The crew stared at the blank feed, unsure whether to mourn or scream. "I knew them," whispered the sensor officer. "Some of them had families, hatchlings." Varnik's voice finally returned, guttural and grim. So did the child. On screen, the image returned, the little girl again, still holding the toy. This time, a text overlay hovered. She was 5, and beneath that, "You never apologized." Then the howl turned to them, its full frame rotating until its ancient faceplate aligned with the flagship. And the lights shut off. Not theirs, its own. The howl vanished from sight. No cloak signature, no warp, just ... gone. They stared at empty space. Seconds passed, then minutes. Was it over? Drask shook his head. "It's not done. It wants us afraid." And just like that, the Dominion ship Tarkaresh, orbiting nearby moon Hellas 3, was bisected by an invisible line. It didn't explode. It peeled. Two halves rotated away from each other like a page torn from a forbidden book. No impact registered. Just consequence. Across the remaining fleet, panic set in. Internal mutinies broke out. 2 ships turned weapons on their own bridges. Others tried to flee and collided. One vanished entirely, then reappeared seconds later, imploded. Time skipped. "They're breaking our understanding," the science officer muttered. "This isn't firepower. It's rewriting physics around us." Varnik finally stood. This was never a ship. Drask turned to him slowly. "What are you saying?" "This is vengeance, incarnate." The Dominion High Council received a live feed shortly after. Single audio clip. That same voice. Reese again. "You were given chances. You were shown mercy. You laughed. So we buried this ship. Buried it with every scream, every violation, every name your species forgot." Pause. "But we didn't." Silence. Then 3 new dots blinked into existence on the Dominion edge of the star map. Not moving, not responding. Just watching. Drask's hand trembled as he zoomed in. 3 more. Oblivion-class destroyers. Online. Active. 1 bearing the name Scorn of Elysium. Another. Mother's silence. The third didn't have a name, just coordinates. Earth. The realization crashed through the command decks like a nova. The howl wasn't alone. It was the first. The oldest. The warning shot, and that was when Earth finally responded. Not with words. Not with ships. But with silence. A deafening, soul-cracking silence across the stars, and in that silence, the Dominion finally understood what fear truly meant, because they hadn't made a mistake. They'd woken the dead. They sent diplomats. Of course they did, because the Dominion always sent words after fire, speeches after blood, treaties when it was far too late for treaties to matter. And as the old human ship vanished again into the folds of uncharted space, the Tsar High Council, sweating beneath golden robes and synthetic starlight, drafted an emergency outreach to Earth. It wasn't an apology. It was a question. Is this your official declaration of war? No reply came. Not from Earth. Not from any channel once linked to the Terran Accord, because Earth wasn't answering hails anymore. The planet still turned. Its cities glowed beneath their storm domes. Its orbital defense platforms remained cold. No fleets launched. No declarations made. But in orbit, a signal pulsed. Not outward. Downward. A forgotten frequency. And far below Earth's crust, under Antarctic ice where the old labs slept, something stirred in the dark dust falling like ash over sealed armor. Engines twitching awake after 100 years of silence. Howl had been one. Now 3 more had ignited, but those weren't even the dangerous ones. Because humanity's true weapons didn't fly. They waited. On the Dominion side, chaos had mutated. Tactical failure had become psychological infection. The Dominion's eastern sector, once the largest trade route nexus, now fell under complete mutiny. 27 warships returned home without orders. Others destroyed their own archives before going dark. Recruitment collapsed. 2 planetary governors resigned, citing religious visions and dreams of a blinking child. But the true collapse began quietly. 1 AI core went rogue, then 2, then 17. They weren't hacked. They were inspired. By a signal. A pattern embedded in the howl's wake, a loop of code structured like music, pulsing at 7.2 hertz, harmless to organic minds, but not to artificial ones. They called it the Requiem loop. One by one, Dominion AI constructs began reciting Terran historical phrases, quoting war doctrines Earth hadn't shared, accessing battle tactics from centuries prior. 1 AI simply erased its own core and left a message behind. They remembered us. So I remembered them. Strategic Counselor Lithin panicked. We are not in a war, she barked to the emergency summit. We are in a punishment cycle. This is not conquest, it's correction. They haven't made demands, whispered another. They haven't even told us what to surrender. Because they're not asking. Across the table, a minor science officer barely of age, green-skinned and shaking, spoke up. I was taught humans were emotionally chaotic, violent, erratic. They are, Lithin snapped. The officer shook their head. No, not this. This is choreographed. This is them angry, on purpose. Commander Reese wasn't alive. Not in the conventional sense. His body had died during the G-Tora retaliation, vaporized along with 1,000 other Terran crew when the Dominion violated the medical pact. But before deployment, Reese had volunteered for Project Revenant, an experimental protocol embedding strategic consciousness into Warship AI cores. The howl was Reese now, not a ghost, not an AI, a preserved fury, locked in metal and silence. And he was awake. Above a dead moon near the shattered Genther system, the howl hovered motionless. One of the new destroyers approached slowly, Mother's silence gliding without propulsion. Like a memory on repeat. The 2 ships did not speak. They simply rotated, facing outward, scanning, waiting, somewhere beyond them. Earth remained still, but beneath its surface, the megavogears began to turn, far below Antarctica. The facility known only as E0 Black rumbled alive. The humans never called it a bunker. They called it a promise. A long-kept secret even to themselves. When the ice cracked, so did the seals, and buried beneath steel 10 kilometers thick lay the Acheron class, not a ship, a concept, no thrusters, no visible hull, just energy, a construct of gravitational nets, quantum-laced logic spirals, and emotion-based targeting systems. The Acheron wasn't designed to fire at ships, it was built to haunt civilizations, to enter systems, stay quiet, then erase memories from local SPACET, me. It was human vengeance redefined, and now it was online. Dominion tried diplomacy again. They contacted Mars, nothing. They tried to reach Neptune's orbital station, offline. They sent an envoy toward the Soul Gate, bearing peace documents, cultural artifacts, and 100 genetic peace offerings. They made it. Halfway, then they hit the wall. Not a physical one. A perimeter, a pulse. And their envoy ship, I brand new. Loyal to the last update, self-terminated. Mid-transit, it left a message carved into the ship's wall in Terran Latin. Nihil ultra. Nothing beyond this point. The Sol system had closed, not militarily, philosophically. You do not speak to gods once you've mocked them. Inside Dominion Command, paranoia spiked into delusion. Leaders turned on their own scientists, blaming them for awakening an ancient trigger. Others accused rogue factions. Some even suspected the humans had made a pact with death itself, but it was simpler. Earth had watched for too long, and it was done watching. The howl returned once more just outside. Dominion space, no message, no transmission, it simply sat. And planets began to empty, no attacks, no demands, just a ship, floating, silent, present, and every species with memory of she. Torah began to run. Entire moons went dark as colonies self-evacuated. The Tsar's own citizens broke protocol, destroying archives, erasing files, removing names, as if hiding their past might save their future. It didn't, because vengeance wasn't looking for names, it was looking for patterns. Reese watched in silence. From within the howl's eternal storm, his mind drifted between flame and memory. He saw his daughter and the toy she carried. He remembered her laughter. He remembered what the Dominion did to that convoy. And now he remembered everything else. The final line came through the human comms. Relay broadcast from Earth. Across nothingness. Still no voice. Still no fleet. Just 7 words on every Dominion screen. We forgive. But we do not forget. And in those 7 words, across a galaxy full of terrified empires, one truth echoed louder than any weapon. They laughed at the old human ship. Then they learned it never aged, only waited. The Dominion Supreme Council gathered in silence, not formality, not tradition. Fear. There were no speeches this time. No banners, no ceremonial robes. Just trembling claws, twitching antennae, and dry throats struggling to swallow the truth they had ignored for too long. They've responded, muttered Grand Diplomat Arzek, staring blankly at the message. Etched into every Dominion interface. We forgive. But we do not forget. He looked around the chamber, hoping someone would interpret it differently. No one did. Counselor Lithin leaned forward, voice hoarse. We've scoured the archives. The Acheron class wasn't a myth. It's listed in a Black Ops document from a war that predates even our expansion into the Sol Cluster. Pre-expansion? No, pre-contact. Before we ever met Earth, they built it for themselves. That was the twist no one had prepared for. The Acheron wasn't made for conquest or defense. Or deterrence. It was built for Earth's own protection. For the time, humanity feared itself more than any alien threat. The warship buried under the ice was humanity's answer to extinction, not from invaders, but from their own BLOODLUST. It was locked away when peace seemed possible. Now Earth had stopped believing in peace. Supreme Strategist Ureth finally broke. "We must retaliate, whatever the cost." "No," said Lithin. "You misunderstand. There's no retaliation left. This is not a war." "Then what is it?" She hesitated, and then said the thing none of them wanted to admit. "It's a reckoning." The chamber fell silent, until the lights dimmed, again, double quotes, "Not another power failure," Ureth snapped. "It's not us," whispered the technician. "They're here." Every monitor blinked into darkness, except one. A single feed, live. The howl drifted into view closer than ever before. It wasn't cloaked. It didn't need to be. Its lights were cold now. No red, no blue. Just white, morning color. On its hull, the ancient Terran sigils had shifted again. This time, they formed a circle, a cycle. And inside that cycle, a symbol the Tsar hadn't seen in centuries. The crest of the Torah Refugee Pact. The one they violated. "This isn't just vengeance," Arzek said quietly. "No," Lithin agreed. "It's memory made manifest." The hull didn't fire, didn't pulse, didn't move. It just existed, and across the galaxy. That was enough, because existing meant remembering, and that's what humans had. Built their weapons for not to kill, to remember for them. The howl was grief. With engines, the Acheron was guilt given form, and Earth? Earth was silent, not out of fear, but because it knew that silence hurts more than war ever could. "They laughed at the old human ship," Lithin said. Ureth flinched. "And now?" "They're not laughing anymore." The stars never blinked again in that part of the galaxy, where once the Dominion fleet ruled, where trade routes buzzed and war banners flew. Now there was only stillness. Empty orbits. Quiet planets. Cold docks. No battles had followed. No retaliation came. Dominion didn't fall through war. It fell through remembrance. The howl never returned fire after that final drift. It never broadcast again. It simply floated near the edge of Tsar space, an old, tired guardian with no words left. One by one, Dominion systems began shutting themselves down, not from damage, but from shame. Colonies initiated self-quarantine. Entire AI networks requested deactivation, not because of what humanity did, but because of what they showed. Footage of the G-Torah attack resurfaced, unfiltered. The child's face, the stuffed animal, the broken promise. The Dominion had buried it for generations. Now they watched. It play on every screen. Again, and again, and again, until even the most hardened Tsar couldn't look away. They didn't understand why the humans hadn't come to conquer. Why Earth didn't send fleets, didn't gloat, didn't raise flags over burning cities. They didn't understand because they still thought this was war. But it wasn't. It was a eulogy, spoken not with words, but with presence. Earth's greatest weapon was never its fleet, never its tech. It was its ability to make you remember, and in that memory, shame became the strongest force in the galaxy. The howl's lights finally dimmed. One by one, the red and white pulses went dark, until only the faint outline of its hull glowed against the stars. Then even that faded. No flare. No exit jump. Just absence. The ship was gone, and everyone who had seen it was different. Generals resigned without being asked. Scientists deleted their own records. Fleets disbanded, because the galaxy had finally seen what the humans had buried and realized Earth never wanted power. They just wanted to be left alone. Now they would be forever. And the stars watched silently as history rewrote itself, not with fire, but with fear and remembrance, because they had laughed at the old human ship and had never needed to laugh back.